Video link, Nickie Aiken.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. I'm delighted to be able to contribute to this debate on local government finance, and I declare an interest as a current local councillor, although with no executive responsibility. As a former council leader, I believe wholeheartedly in the importance of local services for local people, now more than ever. The COVID-19 pandemic has clearly shown that local councils are crucial to delivering local services and prioritising local need. And I pay tribute to councillors and officers up and down the country for the outstanding work, particularly over the most difficult times we are currently experiencing. Whether it be Westminster City Council supporting and enabling community volunteering through Westminster Connects, we have all come to rely on local services much more than perhaps ever before. I and residents in my constituency are grateful for the support that central government has provided local authorities to aid the response to the pandemic. Westminster received over 29 million last year to support its crucial services, and the City of London just over £1 million. Looking forward, I understand that the Westminster Council can expect to receive almost £10 million in further COVID-19 emergency funding in the coming year. The City of London almost £300,000. Sadly, this support remains necessary. Colleagues in Westminster Council tell me that there has been a 10% reduction in business rate collections and 6% of council tax in comparison to the previous financial year, and their deficit for 2021 is estimated to be £231 million. I welcome the increase in funding for local services included within this settlement, particularly the support it plans to offer authorities to further improve our response to rough sleeping and homelessness. I know that it is an issue that I care deeply about, rough sleeping particularly. One way to support local councils in this area would be to work cross-party and cross-department to repeal and replace the outdated Vagrancy Act. And I'm working with charities including Crisis, St Mungo's and The Passage to present ministers with a workable policy for an updated piece of legislation to improve the prospects of those currently living on the streets. Mr Deputy Speaker, as much as this pandemic has highlighted many of the strengths in delivering of local services, it has also highlighted some weaknesses. I'm sure that my right honourable friend is all too aware of the fragmented delivery of services in London. The current Mayor of London has let down local people and local authorities across the capital. I would welcome a reassessment of London's devolution and perhaps provide local London councils with some of the executive roles currently undertaken by City Hall. Last year, I made my maiden speech during the local government finance report, and I highlighted then, before COVID had even struck, the weaknesses I perceive in our financing of local government. The problems are systemic and chronic. COVID, I've no doubt, will be a catalyst of change in how the private sector will do business. And likewise, it should be a catalyst in the public sector. Councils remain far too dependent on central government for support. Council tax remains a regressive tax impacting on the poorest in our society, and it is ripe for reform. A flat property tax to replace council tax and rates has been recently mooted. Although I certainly welcome fresh thinking on this issue, I didn't agree with Jeremy Corbyn's Labour Party's idea of a mansion tax, and I do not agree with a property tax either. One straightforward solution would be to give local authorities the power to introduce additional council bans above Band H. It does not make sense that a person living in a £15 million apartment in Westminster still only pays £2,000 in council tax. Such an approach would raise much needed extra revenues if we had extra bans. Westminster Council's hugely successful community contribution scheme, introduced under my leadership, raised over £1 million in 2 years. So it clearly demonstrates that people living in higher value properties are prepared to contribute more, and they need to be allowed to. Business rate reform must also be escalated as Bricks and mortar retail suffers against online retail, and lately the pressure of retail lockdowns as office workers consider their working patterns. It is inevitable that the commercial market will change. Business rates must adapt and change with the market to support local authorities in being able to offer residents the local retail and business environment that they desire, and I welcome the government's review and stated aim of increasing parity between digital and bricks and mortar businesses. I also hope that we will see the contribution of the business rates holiday announced in the forthcoming budget. Reforming council tax and business rates and the whole of local government finance is vital if we are to reform such areas of social care, which is so desperately needed. Mr. Deputy Speaker, if you would forgive me, I would like to end by plagiarising the summing up of my own maiden speech a year ago. Now is the time for brave, bold reforms, for new thinking to ensure those on the front line in local government are given the freedoms they need and are calling for to help their communities thrive and grow in a truly open global Britain. Thank you.
Thank you very much.